All right, so I'm Boone Huffman and I'm from Shatter, Nebraska, and we're gonna talk a little bit on the rate of return on the Riomax tubs on our ranch this year. This group of cows behind me, 505 head, and we ran them for 5 months from mid-October now until mid-March on just about 1,100 acres, pretty close on that. If we're figuring at $200 a ton hay, basically that saved 2 months worth of forage that we either would have grazed or we would have fed. And that breaks down right around $90,000. So if I was feeding these cows full feed, they'd have about $1,500 a day of the current hay cost. On top of that, that includes my mineral package, it includes the protein. So the only time we fed these cows hay, which a lot of people are going to find it hard to believe, was just when it was that -20, -30 below weather. And that's when we gave them hay just for good animal husbandry to make sure they're filled up and doing good. And if you scan across there, they're in this pasture right here, and we'll graze clear as long as we don't get a blizzard or something like that. They get paired out into stockpiled forage pastures, and they'll just stay on the tubs and that, and we won't give them anything else. Going back a long ways, like I said, really truly believe the year-round program, having the cows on it all year long, just basically pays for the tub itself, just in the forage savings. You know, $90,000, that's a semi-load and a half of the tubs, and that was just in 5 months that paid for that. So if you figure that on a year-round basis, you got another 8 months in there that basically is free. So it turned this, you know, stockpile grass, which you might say is worth 20 bucks an acre if you're renting it, $25 an acre, and turned into $200 forage. If you look at it that way, because I didn't feed hay for 60 days, I would have had to feed otherwise. This year when we did our Preg rates, we were right at 97% on this group up here. Our first calf heifers historically were 15% open on a 40-day breed, and we knocked that down to 5 this year by having them on the heifers year round. I didn't used to feed it to the heifers in the summer and the spring on the development. So just changing that, if that's the 10%, you know, that starts being a big deal. Taking a bred heifer, we'll just say if she's worth 2,000, and if she's just an open heifer is worth 1,100. So, you know, the depreciation that you lose on those open cows is a huge freebie, right? So, because basically just on the forage savings alone, it paid for the tubs. So then I get some heavier calves and higher conception rates on those cows and heifers, and that's all just a bonus. And you can figure that economically however you want to do that. You know, we bred 400 heifers this year, and with only 5% open compared to 10%, you know, that'd be 40 head, that's 40,000 there also. So if you start really figuring up everything with your depreciation, we're not out here with tractors. We know fuel is $4.50 to $5 for diesel now. What's it gonna be next year? What's it gonna be this summer? You're not feeding hay, you're not hauling hay, you're not repairing. We go out there, we chop ice in the winter and make sure the cows got tubs and salt. So there's a lot of cost and labor savings and repair savings and fuel savings, and all in all, it's probably the most unique and amazing livestock product that there is. And like I said, I used to not be a believer 6-7 years ago, but after going, you know, especially when the costs are what they are, we're full on board now. So with all that said, you know, Riomax is I think the only livestock product that pays for itself. Plus, not only does it pay for itself, it pays you to use Riomax. And I don't know anybody hardly around here that's still grazing mid-March and has been grazing in a drought year. So when other guys are struggling, cutting herds back, running less cattle, poor conception rates, we're pretty much staying the course. I say Riomax is a tub that pays for itself.